What did God do after Eve ate the apple? The story of the fall of man is a very resonant story in the beginning of the Bible and foretells a lot for the future of humanity. It starts with the serpent deceiving Eve, telling her that she will not die if she eats from the one tree God said they were not to eat from, but rather her eyes will be opened, and she shall be like God in that she shall see good and evil. At this point in creation, Adam and Eve had no awareness of evil, no fear, no shame, no insecurity. They had no negative feelings but lived in perfect harmony and peace. Not less intelligent but innocent. Like children who haven't learned deception yet, or don't think of evil motives from people. They walked with God freely, just pure and beautiful relationship with their Creator, free of the feelings, insecurities, and motives we would think of that would be associated with that, but with a childlike mind. So with this deception from the serpent, who biblical scholars gather from later context in Revelation, was Satan in disguise, God's fallen angel who was God's number 2 but wanted the power for himself, and God cast him down. Satan's clever trick through the vessel of the serpent got Eve to take a bite from the apple, and then gave Adam a bite, and with that humanity's future would change forever. Adam and Eve in that moment became self-aware of their nakedness, and next they heard the Lord God calling for them, and they knew they had done wrong, and now with these new very human feelings, they hid from God. God questioned them, and knew they had eaten of the tree. Adam said to God, "The woman whom you gave to me gave the apple." God said to Eve, "What is this that you have done?" And Eve blamed the serpent, saying, "It deceived me, and I ate of the apple from the tree." God's resolution would now follow. He starts with the serpent. He curses the snake above all livestock and other beasts of the field, saying in verse 14, "On your belly you shall go, and dust you shall eat all the days of your life." And one of the next lines in this verse has incredible foreshadowing for the rest of humanity's future. God says to the snake when cursing it, "I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your seed and her seed. He shall bruise your head, and you shall bruise his heel." This is deep symbolism for what has come and will play out. This symbolizes the battle between good and evil. The snake would only be able to bite the heel of a human man. The Achilles heel would later be a common analogy for the weak spot of man. Sin will nip at the heels of humanity. The seed of evil will always bruise the heel of man. Satan will always affect and cause harm, but the offspring of Eve can be tied to Jesus Christ, who was betrayed, beaten, and crucified. That was Satan striking the heel. But it was not total victory. Jesus resurrected, defeated death, and broke Satan's authority, and he will eventually return, foreseen in Revelation, and crush the head of the serpent. To Eve God said, "I will surely multiply your pains in childbearing. With painful labor you will give birth to children. Your desire shall be contrary to your husband, but he shall rule over you." And to Adam God said, "Because you have listened to the voice of your wife and have eaten of the tree of which I commanded you, you shall not eat of it. Cursed is the ground because of you. In pain you shall eat of it all the days of your life. By the sweat of your face you shall eat bread till you return to the ground, for out of it you were taken." These are prophecies which have stood the test of time and do paint the portrait of man and woman's lives after the fall. With God saying this, it meant that man had fallen, things were now broken, but God already promised redemption. Satan's bruising of the heel will always end in the crushing blow to the head in permanent defeat of evil.